Sanford and Son, 1972. Cast reveals what most fans never figured out. They were armed on set, both of them. The guns were real. And so was the heart attack everyone thought was a joke. For 6 seasons, America watched Fred Sanford fake the big one. Then one day, the man who played him clutched his chest for real, and his castmates laughed, certain he was joking, until it was too late. But that's only the beginning. A boy who ran away to join the circus. A child sent from a hospital bed straight to an internment camp. A fire eater who became television's holiest woman. 11 lives, 1 junkyard in Watts, and almost none of it ever reached the screen. Before we begin, subscribe to Secret Celebrity Stories and tell me in the comments, which story shocked you most? Norman Lear, creator and producer. No camera ever captured him, yet remove this single architect, and the entire junkyard vanishes. Norman Milton Lear, born July 27, 1922, in New Haven, Connecticut, piloted more than 50 wartime bombing runs over Europe as a radio operator and gunner, then devoted 3 subsequent decades toward voicing on-screen exactly what polite society preferred buried. By the early 1970s, he'd already rattled the nation with All in the Family, the most divisive, top-rated comedy of its moment. Executives branded it excessively honest, excessively political, excessively coarse, and he proceeded regardless. Then, a British representative, Beryl Virtue, presented him a BBC property titled Steptoe and Son, a blue-collar saga of London rag-and-bone dealers. Lear immediately perceived its American potential, relocated toward Watts, reconceived through a black ensemble. Accompanied by collaborator Bud Yorkin, he traveled to Las Vegas, absorbed a thunderous nightclub set, and returned, by his phrasing, sky high. Here resides what admirers seldom grasp. The program didn't merely flourish. Within 2 seasons, it occupied 2nd place across the whole country, surpassed solely by Lear's own All in the Family. It pried open passage toward the Jeffersons, Good Times, and an enduring lineage of black family comedy that reshaped what networks dared broadcast. Lear persisted, creating across 6 additional decades, remaining among Hollywood's most outspoken political voices at an age when most retire entirely, and departed December 5, 2023, at an astonishing 101, surviving nearly every performer he ever hired. He never recited a line or occupied that porch, but he constructed the very space where an outrageous comedian could finally be himself, unfiltered, before millions. That accomplishment outweighs any individual episode the series ever produced. Red Fox, Fred G. Sanford. Nearly everyone recognizes the catchphrase. Scarcely anyone comprehends the man delivering it, nor the merciless manner his signature gag eventually claimed him. John Elroy Sanford, born December 9, 1922, in St. Louis amid authentic destitution, lost his father at 4. By 16, he'd hopped a freight train toward New York, carrying almost nothing, performing mime, scrubbing dishes, vocalizing in nightclubs, gradually honing routines so explicit his 50 comedy albums circulated beneath store counters rather than upon shelves, since the mainstream declined acknowledging the venues where black crowds roared. Stardom arrived with the series, earning him roughly $19,000 per installment, whereupon he insisted upon substantially more. His 1974 absence got publicly disguised as illness. Genuinely, it constituted a compensation battle, concluding with arrangements tied for television's wealthiest, plus a quarter share of net profits. But beneath the riches throbbed catastrophe. Fox dispersed earnings quicker than he accumulated them. Automobiles, residences, ceaseless munificence toward companions. He declared bankruptcy in 1983, and during 1989 stood motionless, while federal agents confiscated his Las Vegas residence alongside 7 vehicles. Rebuilding upon a comeback vehicle, he abruptly grasped his chest on October 11, 1991, and crumpled. Colleagues chuckled, having witnessed Fred fake the big one countless times. Recognizing this collapse as authentic came too late. He perished at 68. His widow couldn't finance the burial, so Eddie Murphy quietly covered it. The very joke that delighted a nation transformed into the instant ending his existence. Tragedy disguised, devastatingly, as a punchline he'd rehearsed 100 unsuspecting times before that final, genuine one. America had laughed along for 6 seasons, never imagining the script would close on truth instead of comedy. Pat Morita, Ah Chew. Preceding Mr. Miyagi, preceding Arnold upon Happy Days, existed a child physicians insisted would never stand, whose journey toward that junkyard traversed one of America's bleakest passages. Noriyuki Pat Morita, born June 28, 1932, in Iselton, California, contracted spinal tuberculosis at 2, encased thereafter within a full-body cast, as doctors pronounced walking impossible. 9 years dissolved inside Northern California hospitals, operation succeeding operation, vast stretches of boyhood immobilized and solitary. At 11, following spinal fusion surgery, he abruptly learned to walk. Then came discharge, directed straight toward an American internment facility. The government dispatched the boy who'd just risen onto his feet toward the Gila River camp in Arizona, subsequently Tule Lake, confining him among thousands of Japanese-American families purely for ancestry. Post-war, his relatives operated a Sacramento eatery where amusing patrons revealed his comedic instinct. He attempted respectability first, even overseeing missile project computations, before stepping on stage at 30 as the hip nip. Mentorship, beneath Red Fox, delivered him onto Sanford and Son, portraying Ah Chew, 1974 through 1976. Fox's benevolence proved sincere. He once gifted Morita $3,500 toward purchasing a home. Here surfaces what enthusiasts rarely deduced. That modest junkyard appearance functioned as a springboard. Onward came Happy Days. Subsequently, The Karate Kid in 1984, plus an Academy Award nomination for Best Supporting Actor, at 52, honoring a man once told he'd never advance a solitary pace. He acquired a Hollywood Walk of Fame star in 1994 and died November 24, 2005, at 73. The brutal childhood concealed behind that serene Miyagi countenance remains the chapter audiences never uncovered, a triumph stitched together from survival itself. Demond Wilson, Lamont Sanford. On-screen, he embodied the forbearing son. Off-screen, he was a wounded combat veteran, an ordained clergyman, and ultimately, the final survivor from an ensemble defining a generation. Grady Demond Wilson, born October 13, 1946, in Valdosta, Georgia, matured throughout Harlem, studying tap and ballet, debuting on Broadway at 4, gracing the Apollo stage by 12. Then Vietnam summoned him. He served the United States Army between 1966 and 1968, sustaining combat wounds, returning decorated before performance steered him toward Lamont. Here resides what spectators never suspected regarding that cheerful scrapyard. Safety was illusory. Within his 2009 memoir, Second Banana, Wilson disclosed that both he and Fox remained armed throughout filming, bearing firearms for protection amid a genuinely perilous district. And when Fox departed during 1977, chasing a variety program at ABC, Wilson absorbed the news not from his partner nor producers, but from a broadcast anchor inside an NBC corridor. "I forgave him, and I loved Red," he reflected afterward. "But I never forgot." A pledge whispered within a hospital bed at 12 ultimately governed his remaining decades. He became a Pentecostal minister in 1984, then established Restoration House in 1994, assisting former inmates toward renewal. He authored Christian volumes, toured faith-driven productions, and largely abandoned Hollywood. "I went to a factory," he remarked concerning acting. That's what it was. He endured beyond them all. Demond Wilson died January 30, 2026, inside his Palm Springs residence from cancer complications, aged 79. The patient's son, weathering Fred's perpetual turmoil with a weary sigh, proved conclusively the sturdiest spirit among the entire unforgettable company. A soldier, a servant of faith, and the quiet keeper of the show's final memory. LaWanda Page, Aunt Esther. She portrayed television's most sanctimonious, scripture-quoting woman, while her actual existence inverted that image entirely. precisely the contradiction rendering her remarkable. Alberta Peel, born October 19, 1920, in Cleveland and reared throughout St. Louis, attended elementary classes beside a youngster named John Elroy Sanford, the eventual Red Fox. That juvenile bond would someday transform American broadcasting. Beforehand, though, she reinvented herself through the most hazardous method conceivable. Commencing show business at 15, she toiled the Chitlin circuit advertised as the bronze goddess of fire, devouring flames, igniting cigarettes via bare fingertips, pressing blazing torches against her flesh. Scorching herself repeatedly, she stated plainly, "If I had to burn to make a living, I was willing to burn." She matured into one of the circuit's bawdiest comedians. Her gold-certified record, brimming with material, NBC could never transmit. So when Fox championed his childhood friend for the devout, acid-tongued Esther, producers protested, deeming her insufficiently experienced and demanding her removal. His retort arrived instantly. "If she goes, I go." Authority relented. Esther remained. Here resides what followers rarely deduced. That pious figure brandishing Bible and handbag, gloriously convinced of her own virtue, was animated by a former flame swallower whose nightclub act was strictly adult. The chasm separating the holy character from the woman portraying her was immense, invisible across every single frame. LaWanda Page died September 14, 2002, in Los Angeles from diabetes complications, aged 81. A schoolyard friendship and one man's unwavering loyalty supplied America an enduring icon, conjured improbably from fire, scandal, and a comedian's stubborn refusal to abandon someone he believed in since they were children. Gregory Sierra, Julio Fuentes. He inhabited Fred Sanford's Puerto Rican neighbor, the figure whose simple arrival converted Fred into a one-man exhibition of thinly veiled bigotry, gifting the program one of its most candid, uncomfortable dynamics. Beneath that refined turn lay a biography commencing in abandonment. Gregory Sierra, born January 25, 1937, grew up throughout Spanish Harlem. When he reached 6, his parents departed, and an aunt assumed his upbringing within surroundings where ruinous choices loomed perpetually near. Adolescence pulled him toward gang activity, and he was stabbed during those years. A particular lending the composed, cultivated performer he later became an almost cinematic contrast. His deliverance proved accidental. Escorting a friend toward an acting class tryout, he watched the instructor observe his improvisation and extend an invitation to him instead. From that lone, unplanned afternoon, a vocation germinated. Across the National Shakespeare Company, the New York Shakespeare Festival, off-Broadway, eventually relocating westward. Here surfaces what aficionados rarely realized about Julio. Sierra fashioned the character directly upon his own uncle, christening the role accordingly. The outcome was a neighbor radiating warmth and dignity, thoroughly capable of absorbing Fred's slurs while maintaining his footing. Operating, as a critic observed, the manner George Jefferson operated alongside Archie Bunker. A persistent, indispensable friction-sharpening humor and social commentary simultaneously. Departing the series, Sierra enlisted within Barney Miller's original lineup, afterward the early Miami Vice roster. He died January 4, 2021, aged 83. The youngster forsaken at 6, blossomed into among his generation's most singular character actors, and the understated secret armament concealed within a Watts scrapyard, dignifying every scene he quietly occupied with a presence the script alone could never have supplied. Lynn Hamilton, Donna Harris. She embodied Fred Sanford's tolerant, tender, infinitely forgiving sweetheart, the ethical anchor of a comedy rarely spotlighting such figures, while assembling among television's most discreet, durable careers. Alzenia Lynn Hamilton, born April 25, 1930, trained meticulously well before cameras discovered her. Broadway productions plus 3 seasons, alongside the distinguished New York Shakespeare Festival. By joining the show as Donna Harris, the gentle nurse somehow summoning patience enough to cherish a man as exasperating as Fred, she already possessed credentials extending far past sitcom boundaries. Here resides what distinguished her: steadiness. Whereas supporting players rotated continuously, Donna persisted, a composed, dignified fixture throughout the program's complete run, within a series typically rewarding chaos and prejudice with the loudest laughter. Remarkably, she accomplished this while concurrently portraying Verdi Grant Foster upon the Waltons from 1973 through 1981, inhabiting two of the decade's most cherished series at once. Her resume spanned 5 decades, encompassing Roots, The Next Generations, and Lady Sings the Blues. Here surfaces what followers rarely knew. A stubborn rumor maintained that Hamilton and LaWanda Page were siblings, a fabrication Demond Wilson decisively rectified in 2016. They shared no blood whatsoever. They were simply intimate friends who met during production. And Hamilton praised Page warmly for years afterward. For nearly 50 years, until his 2014 passing, she remained married to poet and dramatist Frank Jenkins, mirroring his dedication towards serious artistry. Lynn Hamilton died June 19, 2025, aged 95. Among the cast's final survivors, and arguably its most understated talent, whose quiet grace ultimately outlasted the rowdier comedy surrounding her throughout, proving that steadiness can endure long after the loudest voices fall silent. Whitman Mayo, Grady Wilson. Viewers believed they observed a stooped, shuffling elder. They never suspected they watched someone in his early 40s, delivering a career-defining performance. Whitman Blount Mayo Jr., born November 15, 1930, in New York City, came up between Harlem and Queens before his household relocated toward California. What preceded acting ranked among television's most eccentric backgrounds. He enlisted in the United States Army during the early 1950s, afterward laboring California vineyards, dedicating 7 years toward counseling troubled and delinquent youths, occupying a probation officer's role, and manning overnight shifts at a dairy, all while studying simultaneously across 3 institutions, including UCLA. When Grady first ambled forward as Fred's devoted, faintly bewildered companion, Mayo hadn't yet reached 40. He assembled the character's distinctive stoop, dragging gait, and gentle befuddlement through meticulous study of his own grandfather. The distance between actor and role proved vast, and the portrayal so thorough it stayed undetectable. Here surfaces what enthusiasts rarely recognized. Grady earned sufficient affection to warrant his personal spin-off, titled simply Grady, in 1975, and Mayo revisited the persona across multiple Sanford ventures. Yet the man behind the geezer never ceased reinventing himself. Following the program, he launched a travel agency in Inglewood, a startling pivot echoing the versatility his entire working life had always carried. Then later instructed acting at Clark Atlanta University, nurturing emerging performers. Whitman Mayo died May 22, 2001, in Atlanta from a heart attack, aged 70. The beloved old man, it turned out, had been considerably younger than his own fictional character throughout almost the whole celebrated run, a disguise so seamless that audiences mourned a grandfather who, in truth, had barely reached middle age. Slappy White, Melvin White. His character was Fred Sanford's longtime companion. The performer was Red Fox's oldest companion in reality, and his origin unfolded not within a studio, but inside a Baltimore gutter, a small boy dancing for coins. Melvin Edward Slappy White, born September 27, 1921, beside the Royal Theater in Baltimore, was stationed outside that venue by 10, performing for spare change and peddling candy toward moviegoers. By 13, confronting reform school for chronic truancy, because he simply couldn't quit working, he embraced the decision shaping his youth, fleeing to join a traveling carnival as a tap dancer, until police eventually retrieved him. He selected entertainment over schooling anyway, never reconsidering. He'd already accumulated a striking life preceding the series. He wed the celebrated vocalist Pearl Bailey before fame touched either. While her ascent accelerated and his still sought footing, they subsequently divorced. During 1947, he encountered Red Fox throughout Harlem, and the pair assembled a comedy duo, touring 4 years alongside the Billy Eckstine Orchestra, refining one another nightly across the nation. Here surfaces what supporters rarely heard. Once Fox attained television stardom, he recruited White, portraying Fred's friend Melvin, a character named after White's own first name. And by 1973, while the show still aired, White inked a $1 million engagement, headlining the Flamingo Hotel in Las Vegas. The youngster who once danced for pennies outside a Baltimore theater had traveled full circle, commanding precisely the glittering stage he'd merely fantasized about as a runaway. He died in November 1995, his improbable arc complete. A lifetime spent proving that the gutter he started in never defined where his talent could carry him. Don Bexley, Bubba Bexley. On-screen, he was wide-eyed, credulous Bubba, Fred Sanford's steadfast friend. Off-screen, he was Red Fox's most devoted ally in life, a connection spanning almost 50 years that concluded only with mortality. Donald Thomas Bexley, born March 10, 1910, in Greensboro, North Carolina, walked a genuine path utterly unlike the endearing, muddled Bubba. Before the series, he'd amassed an extraordinary career encompassing orchestra direction, vocals, dance, and stand-up comedy. A complete professional who'd circulated Fox's circuit for years. By certain accounts, he ranked the first black stand-up performing the Borscht Belt, the Catskills resort chain historically launching comedians, yet seldom admitting black entertainers. Here resides what audiences never registered watching him enact the bumbling Bubba. He'd already reached 62 when Fox personally requested he join, and it marked his absolute first television appearance. More astonishing still, the actor exceeded Fox's age by more than 12 years. Their on-screen rapport implied two men occupying identical life stages. Actually, Bexley retained vivid recollections of the 1920s that Fox had barely glimpsed. The companionship between them demanded no justification. It simply existed, steady, profound, across decades of mutual hardship within a business repeatedly attempting to disregard them both. When Fox died in October 1991, Bexley functioned as an honorary pallbearer, a designation declaring everything about a bond, outlasting every quarrel and every misfortune. Don Bexley died April 15, 1997, aged 87, having weathered his concluding years deprived of the individual who'd understood him most deeply. The friendship ultimately enduring longer than the celebrity that originally united the two old comedians, and longer than nearly anything else either man ever built. Nathaniel Taylor, Rollo Lawson. He portrayed Lamont's streetwise, silver-tongued best friend, whose schemes registered faintly dangerous yet thoroughly amusing. Beyond the camera, his biography carried genuine adversity and, eventually, genuine purpose. Nathaniel Taylor, born March 31, 1938, constructed his craft through persistent theatrical labor and television appearances before securing the recurring assignment of Rollo Lawson, Lamont's cool, faithful, occasionally dubious associate. Taylor enacted him with an ease, suggesting intimate familiarity with the archetype, and Rollo emerged among the show's most quietly memorable presences. Here resides what audiences never witnessed. Despite that visibility, Taylor endured the distinctive instability confronting supporting actors throughout 1970s and 1980s Hollywood. When the series concluded in 1977, the star wattage permitting Fox to command roles simply wasn't accessible to secondary players, regardless how fondly viewers cherished them. Opportunities thinned, and according to news reports from that period, his association with the show failed to shield him from a serious legal entanglement during the mid-1980s. The variety of headline cruelly chaining a beloved role toward a painful present. But here surfaces what most followers never deduced, because it never generated headlines. His subsequent conduct demonstrated authentic character. Taylor redirected his experience toward community service, establishing a performing arts studio for young actors, and furnishing the next generation a structured route through the identical industry that had so frequently neglected protecting him. Nathaniel Taylor died February 27, 2019, aged 80. Rollo registered effortlessly cool upon the screen. The man animating him proved considerably more complicated and, ultimately, far more generous, converting his own precariousness into a doorway he held open for others coming behind him, a final act that mattered more than any scene he ever filmed. So here's the question worth sitting with tonight. 11 people, one junkyard in Watts, and behind every laugh a life most viewers never saw. Combat wounds, bankruptcy, a fire-eating act, an internment camp, and a death that mirrored the show's most famous joke. So was Sanford and Son the most honest comedy on American television? Or did it use the appearance of honesty to hide just how much the people making it were quietly going through, where the cameras never looked? There's no easy answer, and that's exactly why it's worth debating. Drop your take in the comments below, and subscribe to Secret Celebrity Stories, where the real lives behind the laughter finally get told, because these 11 names should never be reduced to a punchline.